Hello, welcome to Cooking Lessons for Dad. My name is Karen Breyer and today we are going to make super energy garden soup. This is one of my favorite recipes that always makes me feel good and energetic when I eat it. Okay, so the ingredients in this recipe are onions, olive oil, minced garlic, water, a chicken broth seasoning, carrots, celery, red potatoes, kale, sage, thyme, salt, and pepper. So if you haven't noticed, most of these things you can grow in your garden. So think about that when you plant your garden next spring. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to dice up an onion, which I did already. We need 1 cup of diced onions, and then we're going to saute it along with the garlic and some olive oil. So you could use 1 or 2 teaspoons, and I'm going to just use 1. And I'm going to go ahead and saute it in the pot that we're going to cook in, so we save on dishes. Okay, so you're going to turn the heat up about a medium, and we're just going to wait a minute while it gets hot. Then we're going to go ahead and add 1 cup of diced onions and a tablespoon of minced garlic. And you can adjust all of these vegetables and seasonings to taste. If you like a lot of garlic, you can make it heaping. I always put a lot of garlic. We'll wait till it's hot, and it's actually pretty hot. So we'll go ahead and add the onions, add the garlic, stir it around, and we're going to saute this. Probably want to turn it down to about medium. We're going to saute the onions and garlic until the onions are soft, or they call it translucent, but I never can see through it, so I don't know why they call it translucent, but so I like to think of it as when they get soft, so, and a little bit more opaque. So we'll be back and we'll keep an eye on them. Okay, the onions are pretty soft now, and I'm going to go ahead and add the water. So we have 5 cups of water. Got 4 here, 1 more here. Okay, so we're going to also go ahead and add our chicken seasoning. Okay, so this is instant chicken broth or seasoning. You could use it to make a chicken soup. I use vegetarian because it has the best flavor and it doesn't have any preservatives or MSG. So per each cup of water you do 1 teaspoon of seasoning. So we had 5 cups, so we're going to put 5. And you can also adjust this to taste. At the end sometimes I add more. That's the nice thing about using a powder. You can adjust it to your taste, add a little more without adding more liquid. But you could actually use a liquid chicken broth in place of the seasoning and the water. So if you have that on hand, you could use that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the carrots and celery. We've got 1 cup of celery, 1 cup of diced carrots. Go ahead and stir them around, and then we're going to go ahead, bring it to a boil. So turn it on high. And when it does come to a boil, we're going to actually reduce it again to a simmer. So we'll just wait a few minutes until it comes to a boil. Okay, so the soup has come to a pretty good boil. We're going to go ahead and turn it down to a simmer. And a simmer is just like a little boil. We'll keep it simmering for 5 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we will put in the red potatoes. Okay, so the soup has been simmering for 5 minutes. We're going to go ahead and add the potatoes. We have 1½ cup of diced red potatoes, and you could add more or less how you like them. I like potatoes, so I put more. So we'll go ahead and stir it up. You might have to increase the heat just for a few minutes, but you're going to go ahead and simmer it again for about 15 minutes or until the potatoes are as soft as you like them. Bring it back up to simmer, and then you can start counting the 15 minutes. Okay, so the soup, we added the potatoes and it's simmering. We're going to let it simmer for about 15 minutes, we'll start checking it at 10 to see if the potatoes are soft enough. And if they are, we're going to go ahead and add some seasonings next. The potatoes have been, and the vegetables have been simmering about 15 minutes. And I just checked one and it's pretty soft, so you could, I just took one out. Pretty hot, but good. So we're gonna go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients. 3 to 4 cups of chopped kale, and when you chop the kale, you wanna take out that hard core. So, and cut it like bite-sized pieces, but they will shrink down when they cook, so. And you can add more or less. I usually add more. So here we go, we got our kale. Stir it up right away, and then we're gonna add the rest of our seasonings. And you can watch how it starts shrinking down right away. It's looking very colorful and healthy. So the next ingredient is sage, and you want about 2 teaspoons. Go ahead, and sage is pretty easy to grow too. If you grow it, you do need to chop it up. So we got 2 teaspoons of sage and 2 to 3 teaspoons of thyme. I'll go ahead, I'm gonna put 2 plus a little, 2.5. Thyme is also easy to grow. It's smelling very delicious. If you use fresh herbs, you can use about 3 times as much. Okay, so then we're gonna go ahead and put salt and pepper to taste. I'm gonna start with about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then we can add more at the end. And also we can add more pepper at the end too, so we'll just put some now, some later. Stir it up. And we're gonna simmer it about 10 more minutes or until the desired texture. I'll probably start checking it after 5 just to see. Okay, so we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so our soup has been simmering just a little over 5 minutes, and I just checked it. It tastes perfect to me. I'm gonna go ahead and check it one more time. See if I want to add any more seasonings. It actually tastes perfect. Usually I add a little more salt, but I think it's just right. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat. Before I wanted to show you, in case you haven't seen kale before, this is kale. Sometimes the leaves are bigger. I actually found kale that was already rinsed and bagged up. That's the easy way to do this. I did take out this hard stem. This is the hard stem that I was talking about. It's easy to take out. If you're gonna chop it up, I just pull it out first. And then I get a few of these, put them together, just chop them up in pieces. It's actually pretty easy. So, just in case you weren't sure what kale was. I actually tried kale for the first time about 3 years ago, and it's actually when I tried this recipe first. And then now I'm crazy about kale because I love this soup. Everybody who tries this soup loves it, and I expect you will too. So, now it's time for a whole bowl of this. This would be great served with a sandwich, crackers, bread. You could serve it as an appetizer before a meal, for a meal. Anyways, I think it's great. This is a sourdough, multigrain sourdough bread, very healthy. So you can see this is amazing. Look how many different colors you get, a lot of different nutrients and vegetables. You could grow all this yourself in your garden, and I'm going to try it again. You could make this today. Just run to the store, get the ingredients. All you need is 1 pot. You could cook it all in 1 pot. Let me know how it turns out for you. You can go to my blog, cookinglessonsfordad.com, and tell me how it turns out, or you could make a comment below. Okay, have a great day. Super hot, super good. You're gonna love it. I already have more energy. I started getting more energy just cooking this. You won't believe it. Bye.